Complex 39A, but we're going to be ready to do this again.
And even though the first version of that rocket couldn't carry humans, the fundamental design was made with that goal in mind.
To CDR is Doug Hurley, that's the commander, PLT pilot, that's Bob Bankin.
Dragon, SpaceX, Comshack, Tidris.
Preparing for this moment, really preparing and getting everyone familiarized with every step of the mission from launch all the way through docking, and throwing different scenarios at them just in case something were to happen. Every flight controller you see behind me will be prepared to respond effectively. Now, I do want to make a shout out that it's not just the flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston that have dedicated so much time to this launch. In fact, I've been talking to Zeb Scoville, the flight director here in Mission Control Houston, who said that even before he was a flight director back in 2014, they were working on some of the operations for commercial crew missions. But really, this team expands across the country. You've already seen a lot of people working in Hawthorne, in Florida, in Houston, and really it takes an integrated and dedicated team to make a mission like this possible. Diana, thank you so much for the question. And really thanks to everyone sending in questions and for sharing in this historic mission today. Remember, as you're posting, to use the hashtag #LaunchAmerica. I do want to make a shout out to the flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston. In fact, some traditional flowers have been sent to Mission Control Houston.
Space shuttle, and I saw these two little kids. They had on orange pumpkin suits, and when their dad turned them around to look at me on the fire truck, and it was almost as though when they saw my face, they started launching into space with rocket fuel because they were inspired, because they saw someone who
So we just heard a series of
the capsule, the weldment, any of the vehicle to buckle due to a pressure differential. So they should be adding that plug, and then they'll cover up that side hatch access panel with the TPS panel or thermal protection system panel, close it up, and that'll make sure it stays safe on ascent.
And now obviously
having logged 177 days in space from flights on the Space Shuttle Discovery to the Soyuz, JAXA astronaut Soichi Noguchi will have spent more time in space than any of his other crewmates. It is my pleasure to welcome him here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Soichi. Honjitsu wa arigato gozaimasu.
Wow, that's wonderful. Marina, how are you doing? Thanks for having me today. This is wonderful. Today we are celebrating the launch, so I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I am sure you have felt the
as the chief of the office when he left back in 2015 to begin training for this amazing mission. Personally, I've been very fortunate to fly in 2 different spacecraft. Launching from America on the shuttle, and most recently launching from Kazakhstan in the Soyuz. But I can't tell you how exciting it is to know that we're once again launching Americans from the coast of Florida. And finally, here's a story I'd like to share with you. Back in 1981, John Young and Bob Crippen launched on Space Shuttle Columbia, the very first space shuttle flight, marking the last time we flew
launch on an American vehicle in almost a decade. For the team at SpaceX, it's really hard to put into words how honored we feel about the trust that Bob, Doug, and NASA have put into our team to carry out this critical mission. I worked on Crew Dragon for 2 years, and I can just imagine what all of my friends and colleagues are thinking right now as they sit in anticipation and excitement for what's to come.
Absolutely. And speaking of those who have carried the hopes and dreams of science and exploration,
ready for the crew access arm retraction, and we'll show you that on one of the screens that we've got up. Now currently we are
to take care of, the first steps you have to take care of. And on my mission, I was calling out the abort calls, like if we had lost an engine, where would we go next, when the different abort calls around the country and around the world. So I think that's what those guys are probably thinking about now, and just really getting ready for this mission to go off.
That is liquid oxygen you see venting off the rocket. That's completely normal and expected. We're standing by for a weather update.
Unless you can give us another 10 minutes, I don't think we're going to get there with any of the rules today.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes.
I mean, another 10 minutes past T0.
Oh,
1645 local, I think we'll probably be clear on all the rules, but not quite going to make it for this.
Okay. We're going to check back in with you in about 2 minutes, and then I'll call it up at about T-minus 17 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, there's some of them are starting to count down, but we still have one above 2,000. So if that gets below,
And that didn't sound great right there. That was the weather net going out, but we're still standing by for a final decision. We're going to go over to John Insprucker at SpaceX headquarters in California. John?
And Dragon SpaceX on weather. We're still
T-minus 18 minutes and counting.
LD is
we are still red on weather.
Expect an update from LD.
We're waiting in about another minute for one final check with weather. We've improved. We do 10 more minutes past the T0. Weather conditions may improve, but Mike was not able to do that. We have an instantaneous that we have the opportunity to launch.
And Dragon SpaceX, unfortunately, we are not going to launch today. You are go for 5.100 launch scrub.
5.100, it was a good effort by the teams, and we understand, and we'll meet you there.
Copy all.
We've heard the call from the crew. They have been informed. Launch Director Mike Kaler has called a scrub for the day, and we got the feedback when the Dragon team informed Bob and Doug. They said we gave it a good try, but they understand, and we are here to try another day.
Right now, Bob and Doug are still inside of
Dragon, go ahead for weather.
Yeah, just
get this crew Dragon up to the International Space Station. So it's always good if you're going to scrub, probably rather scrub for weather than an issue on either Falcon 9 or Dragon. And we weren't tracking any issues with the flight systems throughout our countdown today. Everything passed with leak checks on the hatches and the crew suits. All the communications working great. All the teams were ready to go. So as John and I said, always nice to have a little bit more practice, and we'll be right back at it on Saturday. p.m. Eastern Time, and just like we did today, we're going to be bringing you every single step of the way. It's going to look a little familiar if you watched all of today's, but it's going to be just as exciting.
I could imagine it might even be more exciting with
can we make it to the station, but just how long is it going to take to get there? And that's why Saturday is going to be our best option. We're going to be targeting that one at 3:22 p.m. Eastern Time for our next attempt, and it'll be a little over 19, maybe a little over 20 hours until we actually arrive at the space station, if we're able to get off the ground on Saturday.
The Falcon 9 Dragon, the crew arm, where they are, that is in the launch support position. There's no plan to come back down to horizontal. The vehicle is designed to stay vertical. Now, if we were to find something wrong during the countdown as we go through data review, that could mean that we have to come horizontal as we
today. It was a great practice, and we'll do it again on Saturday. Everybody stay safe, and we'll talk again on the loops.
Likewise.
Well, Dan, we've heard it. They've got rotated. The hatch is open. The ground crew is going to work to get the astronaut is going. Well, we didn't launch. We've got the results when we get close to T0.
Okay, which we didn't. A 50% probability correctly, and
We're just about half an hour away from percent.
there. So over to you, Marie, Lauren, Leland, if you're still sticking around, and we're going to be looking forward to Saturday.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan. Yeah, we're just all sitting here. We watched Bob Benkin just climb out of his seat. Looks like he is out of Crew Dragon now, and Doug Hurley following suit. No pun intended. There we see Bob in the foreground and Doug climbing out of Crew Dragon in the background. Pad closeout team. Looks like Helly Jalen.
We were to and
I mean, all of this is a ton of learning that came out of here, even if we didn't ultimately go to space today.
Absolutely. So we're getting a cool view that we wouldn't have seen if they'd launched. They're making their way back down the crew access arm. And they are going to be turning the corner there, heading to the stairs that are going to take them down to the elevator.
Passing the worm.
Passing the worm. So, yep, they're heading down the stairs now. It's going to take them down to the 255-foot level, and then they're going to be getting in the elevator, take them down to the ground level. And we'll do it again on Saturday.
It's actually very reassuring that all systems were go. You know, there was no problems with the vehicle at all, as Lauren, as you said, and it was just some weather. And I think if we have that same performance on Saturday, and the weather gods give us some good juju there, we'll be good to go.
Yes, please. I mean, we were so close today. It hurt my heart. If we had 10 more minutes, it sounded like we probably would have made it, but just was not to be today. And of course, we're going to always do what is the safest thing for the crew. And as they head into the elevator there, we do want to go over to Operations and Support Building 2 now, where the NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine is. Launch time will be 3:22 p.m. And our coverage will begin live here on NASA TV at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time, Saturday. So be sure to tune back in on NASA television.
We're sitting on top of our in our vehicle with a fueled rocket, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Closing the hatch, exercising the environmental life support systems, doing that flight leak check.
And with dignitaries.
Always do what is the safest thing for the crew. And as they head
case, we have a lot to look forward to.
Take them down. Always do what is the safest thing.
No circumstances should anybody feel pressure. And in the end, the right decision was made.
Provide to now. Thoughts now. We'll go to him.